Hello and welcome to the tea time once again, starring Melanie and Katherine.
Yes, hello. It's me, I'm Katherine.
Yeah. You have not stopped being Katherine. That's one thing we can say for sure.
That's true. That'll stay consistent for the entire run of this podcast.
You don't know that.
No, I know that. I've never had the temptation to change my name or whatever. So
The lore is coming out. This isn't lore. This is whatever. So yeah, it's been a month. How things been?
yeah.
What have you been up to, etc.
What have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. I passed the bar exam, so I don't gotta worry about that anymore.
Hell yeah.
And otherwise, have I done anything? I don't know if I've done anything. I mean, I guess I finished the Umineko question arcs.
Oh,
That's
congrats.
important.
Yeah, cause I think, well, yeah, you seem to finish one episode every time we do these.
Yeah, I think this one took a bit longer. I think this one took us 2 months. Just because the pacing of the book club
Right.
we were in. But yeah, that was long. And weird. That was a weird one.
Yeah.
Because you're going. It's like, the Kamen Rider Kiva of Umineko.
I have not seen Kamen Rider Kiba, but I feel like I understand what the premise is enough to see why you would make this comparison.
Yeah, because you're jumping back and forth between the 80s and the 90s, but also there's just like other flashbacks in between. School bullying arc continues in everything. And then also, Rosa is truly the worst mother ever. Oh my god!
Yeah, it's
in
not
in front
her.
of the social worker.
Yeah,
How did they not take her out of custody? That's crazy.
it is pretty nuts.
And also, Kinzo's got like crazy fitness and energy for someone who's actually dead.
That it's true. Maybe that's
That's a
why he has the fitness and energy.
Yeah. That was a absurd reveal because it's like, well, what the fuck has been happening? I guess it's complicated. Lots of is this fantasy or not? We're questioning the fantasy. I gotta the book club I'm in is gonna take a break between question and answers arc, so I should spend that time to try and think of some theories.
Yeah, reflect on what you've read.
I think we can. I think I think we can workshop this small bombs theory. I think we can go a bit further with it, and see where it takes us. Yeah, I don't know what is going to happen next because, like, I don't know.
You'll
I don't know what to
see.
expect other than I know notable character fan favorite shows up in the next episode.
Yeah, I wonder who that is. You'll see.
I wonder who that is. Who can say? Truly. Yeah, I don't know how much I can really there is to say. Like, I don't know. Oh, it's cool. I assumed would be around longer, and maybe she'll come back, but she sure seems to have been one and done, at least so far. But who knows? We'll see in the next start.
You'll see.
I shall see. There's like a whole other half of the story left. And I guess the break also means I can spend some time finishing the other things that I was in the middle of. / catching up on White Album 2, which partly because I'm away from my PC and partly because Mario Root bad, I was just like, yeah, I'm going to watch this on YouTube instead of actually reading because it'll take too long to actually read it.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't really want to dedicate any time to talking about Mari's Root. It's bad. You can just listen to the Fate Moon archive episodes. I'm sure they cover it in enough detail.
Yeah, I was just, I got to that part where a thing happens. I'm like, what the fuck? Why?
Why,
that's
indeed?
Awful. What were they thinking? Did the same guy write this, or did they get, like, an understudy?
No, I think it was just a bad idea.
Yeah. I gotta power through that and then get on to actual Chiaki Root, because of course I already read the Bad End Root.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I'm a bit uneventful. How about you?
What about me? I think most relevant for this pod, I have watched half of Kamen Rider X. I think Kamen Rider X is mostly really dull, unfortunately. You can really see the, like, any sense of, like, creativity or originality or whatever is kind of just drying up,
Yeah, I kind of got the vibe from osmosis that X is truly the middle child of the show era.
Truly the what?
The middle child.
Oh, yes. It starts off with some unique elements and characters, but they all die like 5 or 6 episodes in.
That's a crazy level of we're rebooting the entire premise to make it unoriginal.
Yeah.
Which has happened a bunch in, like, the same era of Ultraman, but, like, usually not that close to the start.
Oh, no. They like, some of the original elements die in episode 2.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. It's really bizarre. It's like, but once you get past, like, that bizarreness, there's just not really anything to hook you.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the impression...
It's like, I've already seen this show twice. It was fun the first time, and it was, like, less fun, but still enjoyable the second time.
Yeah. I have a friend
the third time, we're, like, hitting real diminishing returns, you know?
Yeah, like, I have a friend who likes V3 more than 71, but also I don't get the impression they think highly of X either.
Right.
Like, I feel like presumably there's a reason Amazon is the next one, and presumably there's also a reason why Amazon and Stronger are, like, things that people think about more. So I guess that to look forward to at least? Question mark?
Yeah. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping they pull it back up a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully. Anything else, even if it's not necessarily Toku related, but just like interesting?
No, it's been mostly a pretty chill month. the heat wave has not really helped. Like, we're out of the heat wave now, but for a while it really did, for a while it really did, like, sap my ability and energy to do something.
Yeah. Last week before last, it was just like orange for a bit because of forest virus. That was crazy.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends in the, like, Boston area, and it, like, spread down there too, and I'm like, yeah, shit sounds crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess in that case we can just...
Yeah, we can top into it.
The red zone, the red rotation.
Final time.
For this season anyway. The evil is defeated. Gavan Infinity finished at 23 episodes, which I think is like last week. So
23. Am I crazy, or is 23 like a really weird and arbitrary number?
Yeah, it's like, if it was 25, I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But 23 feels like odd. Like, I don't know. It feels one short of what it should be, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess technically you watched 5 and I watched 4, but that's because I watched that one last time.
Yes, that's because I miscounted episodes last time.
That's fine.
Because I was doing it pretty last minute. Yeah, so I guess, first one is about Kiki and Koto. Stuff happens. There's a guy who's jealous of them, and it turns out that guy is being manipulated by their high school college teacher, who is also jealous of them.
Yeah.
Koto has to become a Gavan to save Kiki. You meet Gavan God, and he's like, yeah, well, that can happen. Only if Kiki loses her memories of being a Gavan. And they have, like, a sad ED of all of their moments throughout the show.
Yeah, like, I think the bait and switch is like, okay, I'll forget all my memories of her, but no, it's reversed.
Yes.
Because the thing that's really annoying is they're really committed to this, there can only be one Gavan in any universe thing.
It's true.
I just do not give a shit about. I don't think the show needed this. I don't think we need any of these rules for... Like, originally, like, in the 80s, Gavan was just, like, one guy. And then they made, like, 2 other guys who were, like, kind of like him. Like, you have Sherivan and Scheider. So I don't know why they went the route of, like, oh, in this show, Gavan is a title for the multiverse that's like, you know, such elevated importance. Like I thought, like, you know, pretty decent character drama at least, but is also just like, I don't know, grading on a curve basically.
Yeah, basically.
And then it goes resolved the next episode anyway.
Yep, that sure does happen.
Like, I guess you could say there were some good character moments in the next episode where they're like, oh man, this sucks, and then Reiji solves it somehow.
Through the power of protagonist.
He uses his something power, question mark, to just fix it, and then it looks like he's suffering some consequence from it, but don't worry, because Kiki also fixes that. So it's fine.
It's true.
And then, yeah, I guess that's also episode 20. There isn't much to say there, because, like, yeah, it's mostly just, like, the Kiki and Goto angst plot until it's fixed.
Yeah,
until the end.
It's true.
And then, episode 21, is that the one where it's, like...
I literally watched these this morning,
Yeah, me
and
too.
I'm like, what the fuck happens in episode 21?
Is that the one where, like, there's the guys from higher up who come, and then also there's a big roundup battle, like, all the villains are like, hey, we're back, and we're teaming up.
Yeah. Yes, imagine if the villains were, like, interesting or charming at all. They're not, but, like, imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about more interesting villains in, like, you know, 20, and I was gonna say 20 minutes, but it's probably gonna be more like 10 minutes, let's be real.
Yeah, because, like, I don't know how much I have to say about the Gavan finale.
I was watching these at times
like,
2 speeds.
I'm not gonna say what time speed I was watching these live on pod. It was 4.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to retain anything from that, but also, I did want to go faster.
No, I'm able to retain things. It's just like... It's just like, none of it grabs me, which, like, paradoxically, the fact that the show is not grabbing me makes me watch it on higher speeds, which makes it even less likely for it to grab me, probably.
Yeah, but also it's like, well, this thing doesn't deserve my respect, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't really... I feel like Gavan is, like, I know we use this phrase for everything these days, but Gavan is like a real toku slop.
Yeah, this really does feel like the most derogatory form of Toei's formula. And really the most I can say about it that is against that is that because it isn't a Kamen Rider show, it's not as crazy with forms and upgrades, which is like the one thing I can say that it makes it like, well, it's at least it's not doing this the way Mono Rider has like form bloat because of toys.
Yes, this is true, though I also think that part of the reason they don't have form bloat is because they just have Gavan bloat, and also the show is only 23 episodes long.
Yeah. Like, they only have as much for, like, the one toy season, and then it's being replaced by Omega Horn where normally this would be, like, you know, middle season forms, etc., like a 56-episode show. And I mean, it's not like there wasn't, like, more toys in Sentai, but usually those were, like, robots. So, you know. Yeah, I guess, like, there's the big battle, and, like, there's the one guy who's like, you know, he's in the cult or whatever of the villain.
Yes, they introduce a, like, cult subplot, I guess.
And then he's like, haha, because I'm in the bureaucracy, I'm gonna not gonna authorize the transformation. And then, like, the two joke guys are like, basically forcibly have him push a button. or something. Uh, and then they win, and then the villain's like, "Oh, we'll get you, Gavans." And then the next episode is, I guess they all go. This is a penultimate episode. They all go and like fight these guys again. And now that they're like not in like the void space, but are just back in their own home dimensions. Which does lead to like the one good line in the show, I think, at least in this batch. Let me see if I can find it. Where like Kodo says to the professor lady, because she like joins the company.
Yes. Yeah, I know the line you're talking about. I don't remember the exact way it's worded.
Selling your soul to the devil is one thing, but corporate advisory.
Yes.
I'll let them have that one. But yeah, it's just, they do some fights, and then it's like the reveal from the episode before that is like, oh, we're gonna sunset the Gavan project because of reasons, and so they can't actually transform until Reiji, I guess, goes into the void and learns about the truth of the world, or whatever. And like he's like speaks to the god of Gavan, and it's like, I think you're, I don't know. He's like, oh, we need to, have less defective Gavans, and we can't have another death Gavan. And then Reiji's like, that's stupid. But in like the, oh no, it feels like, that one anime plot, but in a different way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd quite call it that, but it is like,
it's not like instrumentality or anything, but it is like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's like, okay, here's a good way to put it. It's like, no, we can't have more Gavans. And then, like, Reiji's, like, boss shows up and he's like, but dude, Reiji's chill. I'm like, look at all these, like, swag good guys. And he's like, wow, you're so right.
Yeah, it's sort of like talking down to God about like, oh, you need to understand the power of humanity, or something.
Yeah, who fucking knows?
Love is the strongest, I guess.
It feels like at the end they were trying to like pivot to this like emotions good messaging, but like aside from Setsuna's plot, that doesn't really like cohere with the rest of the story. So
yeah, and also we hated the Setsuna's plot.
I don't find. Yes.
And then I guess he's just like, yeah, okay, whatever, and then they all transform, and then I guess the last episode is basically one big fight with Death Gavan that I guess Reiji wins, but also in a way that isn't satisfactory to him, because he just kind of like gets also destroyed by God or whatever. And then Reiji goes missing or something, and meanwhile there's like still the cult plot and like sequel stuff being set up, or maybe this is supposed to be in like the movie or something.
Yeah.
Because there's like the summer movie that goes alongside the Rider movie, but I don't know if that's like supposed to be the finale for the show. So it all feels very weird that it's like, oh, we had this 23 episode plot that also feels like they kind of ended it but also didn't end it, and maybe they would have ended it if there was a singular other episode, but also I don't care enough.
Yeah.
So anyway, this was bad, I think.
Yes, it is like probably one of the most like unengaging and uninspired shows I've seen in a good bit.
This is truly just feels like they needed something to buy time until they could make something actually original to replace Sentai with.
Yeah.
Which is Omega Horn, which will hopefully be actually good. We shall see next week or next month, I guess. And if it's not good, then I guess we either replace or retire this segment. Because
Yeah.
no point in actually doing it if they're all gonna be bad.
Yeah. This is kind of my exact thought. I remember after like the first time we did this, I was like, "Hey Mel, are you sure about this segment?" And you're like, "Okay, Catherine, let's keep giving it a chance." And I'm like, "Okay, fine."
I say we give Omega Horn at least 1 to 2 months. We don't need
Yeah,
to finish the show.
I'm down to do that. I just hope it's better than Gavan.
Yeah. Like, on one hand, I'm like, the bar is on the floor, but on the other hand, they can always surprise us by making something worse. But at least the one saving grace is that at least Omega Horn looks somewhat original. So there's that going for it. Anyway, let's transition to Geass.
Yeah. Okay, get the coin up. I'll open up the summaries in the meantime.
Yeah, I was also lazy to do summaries this time, and so you grabbed them off the wiki. So we're once again dealing with wiki summaries. Okay. What coin? What side?
I'll call tails.
It's heads. This keeps happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back to my notes at least, so I can have them on hand for discussion. Okay. Anyway, I will say before we start the summaries proper, this batch definitely was better on the whole
last time.
Yeah. Even though I also have some trepidations with some things about it, and especially in this first little stretch here. But we will get into that. But for now, episode 9. Excuse me, hiccups.
Yeah.
Lelouch learns the Chinese Lelouch learns the Chinese Empress Tianzi, which is a name I'm learning from the first time from reading this, because I don't think it's come up in the show at all, is being forced into a political marriage to First Prince Odysseus of Britannia. The wedding is orchestrated by the High Eunuchs, who will become nobles of Britannia in exchange for turning over half their land to Second Prince Schneisel El Britannia. As the wedding begins, Li Zhengke initiates a coup d'etat to overthrow the eunuchs, but before he can free the Empress, Zero appears and takes her hostage. Elsewhere, V2 readies Jeremiah Gottwald against Lelouch in C2.
Oh, the eunuchs. The vibe is really bad.
This is crazy. Why is China still the fucking... First of all, how... The Chinese Federation is, like, owns half of Asia as, like, a federation that also is controlled by China that is somehow still the fucking imperial dynastic system somehow. For some reason.
Yeah. And, like, there's a line in the first season from Charles that's like, oh, the Chinese have focused on wealth equality. But you don't really see that in this, like, China mini arc, so I get the feeling that the writers just forgot about that, or decided to change directions.
Yeah, because it's like... Like, the China depicted here is like the thing the communists were fighting against existing.
Yes. Yeah, it's like, okay. Code Geass countries are not exactly very rooted in reality. Is maybe a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Like, even the Britannia stuff, a lot of it is kind of, like, based on, like, stereotypes and images, like, kind of like, media images of the way things should be, I guess.
It's also, like, not how I would conceive of the British relative to other European empires.
Yes. However, this is the important however, the vibe is way less bad there because it's not a Japanese creative doing this to a country that they fucking colonized.
Yeah. Like, it's not like I'm offended by Britannia, but also it's you know, doing another, like, fantasy history nonsense, but, like, one of these is really racist and also incoherent. Like, why are there eunuchs? That's stupid.
Yeah, yes. A part of me thinks that I would rather they do this, I would rather them do this instead of, like, some, like, awful, like, communist China, like, stereotype thing.
Yeah.
It's a real, like, pick your evil, you know?
Yeah. Also, I find out, as I mentioned in the summary, I found out her name is Empress Tianzi.
Yes, which I don't think they say in the show.
Anyway, here is my OC. She's a German princess called Kaiser.
So true.
Like, you can't just name her the Chinese word for emperor. That's crazy.
Okay. What the fuck else happens in this episode that isn't, oh my god, this show's depiction of China is like the most racist thing on the planet. Okay, it's not that bad, but, like, that doesn't mean it's good.
they call China, the Chinese Federation, the sick man of the world. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. To be fair, it is a Britannian character that says this, so it is like you can read that as, a Britannian perspective and not the
I guess
text of the show.
that would be charitable. If it wasn't for
Well,
everything else,
yes,
but
yes, this is also true.
Also the Chinese temporarily lend the Japanese an island, which quickly becomes
we've been
less
talking
true
about that.
as they do.
We've been talking about that last time as well.
Yeah, like they just have an island now, but also they're like, now Zero's like, yeah, we're kidnapping your princess. And then there's a part where Lelouch is like, yeah, I want to overthrow China for some reason. We get more of that, I guess, later. It's also crazy to me that they're like, the eunuchs will be like, yeah, you give up territory to like get noble titles in the British Empire, which is a thing that I don't think has ever happened in the history of also like a marriage between like a political marriage between the Britannians and the Chinese.
Right, I get what they're trying to do, right? Like, they're trying to do narrative shorthand of, like, a political elite of a country, like, betrays, like, the, like, masses, the common folk,
Yeah.
which I don't necessarily think is, like, a bad thing to depict. I'm just,
Yeah.
not fully on board with the depiction here.
Yeah, I also think it's like at odds with like everything that they've said about like Britannian racism.
Yes, this is also true.
Like it feels like Britannian racism is like depends on the plot. It's not like how much they actually care about it is like when the plot demands it, basically. Like they don't feel as like dedicated to it their white supremacy as you'd expect.
Yeah, it's like, that's also a good point. I don't think I thought of that really.
Especially because like it's like again like some characters are racist to Suzaku, but also he is still one of the most powerful people in the Empire. Despite being the token Asian guy. This is a very strange show. Oh yeah, there's a bit where Schneizel brings Nina.
Yeah, and like Schneizel plays chess with Lelouch Zero, who's like also at the wedding, and Nina goes into like heated gamer mode and like tries to stab him with a knife.
Yeah, and but yeah, there's another thing. I think like I think I was also like, it took me definitely into later in the batch to like be on board with these episodes because like this start really truly is like Nina is racist and everyone is just kind of like, this is so sad that she's also a victim to this war when she's just like calling Callan slurs. Like, it's crazy.
It's true, yes. We'll talk about this more as we go throughout the session, but like my memory of this show was that the first season was pretty enjoyable. The first half of season 2 was like had a lot of pretty questionable shit, and then the second half of season 2 kind of brought it back to it's fun again. And I think that ended up being completely accurate.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Nina. I guess we shall see.
Well,
But
we'll talk about it.
but
We'll
she
talk
is
about.
deeply unpleasant.
Yes.
um
I'm glad there is representation for all of the imperialist nuke developer lesbians in the world.
First show to be bold, take the bold stance of like, uh, white colonizer lesbians are still white colonizers.
So true. What if Oppenheimer was like a royalist white colonizer lesbian?
Just sort of being like, uh, brain froze. But yeah, just
Yeah.
she's extremely the you know pink washing, etc., etc. Pink washed imperialism in a way. Though I don't think the show knows they're doing that.
I think they know they're doing that, but like, who can say?
Who can say? Um, Also, I guess, well, I guess we can move on to the next episode because I think some of the stuff gets fleshed out more. But there is a whole bit of like the Empress not being able to talk to her eunuchs, which I guess like mirrors Nunnally and Yuffie a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we can get to episode 10.
Okay. Lelouch successfully escapes with Empress Tianzi and the Black Knights attempt to unite with their Indian allies. Desperate to recover the Empress, the eunuchs agree to forgive Li Jingke if he rescues her. To that end, he is granted use of the powerful Shen Hu. Cullen intercepts him with the Gurren flight-enabled version, but its power runs out and she is captured. Uh, Lelouch swears to rescue her despite Diethart's suggestion to retreat. Jinke demonstrates his skills as a strategist, forcing the Black Knights to retreat to a mountainside monument constructed as a tomb for the former rulers of China, hoping that the Federation will hesitate to attack it. The eunuchs turn on Jinke and his troops, having enlisted the aid of Britannian forces. Meanwhile, another Lelouch is present at Ashford Academy.
Yeah. This episode still feels like it's playing in the...
Oh, I was just gonna say, this is like mostly a like Battle Rages episode.
Yeah. Like, basically, Jinke is temporarily against the Black Knights before he's now with them. We have more of Diethard being himself. They're having Jinke be someone who actually is a tactician on the level of Lelouch isn't interesting.
Yes, I don't know if they really. I think conceptually, what if there was a guy who was good at piloting like Suzaku and also good at tactics like Lelouch is like a fun antagonist idea, but I don't know if they ever really sell me on him.
Yeah, well, they also like make it a non-issue immediately, so
Yes.
Which I may loop around back to in a later episode.
Yeah, this is mostly a Battle Rages episode. It's like, I wouldn't say it's like the best action set piece I've seen in a mecha anime, but it's not the worst.
Yeah. Is there anything else I can comment on? Well, I guess Cullen gets kidnapped, which is, to be honest, where she kind of is through the duration of the batch, which I know how I feel about. Not that there isn't some good scenes out of it, but also just like it's weird a little bit.
Right.
That she's basically out of commission. But we can talk about that more that later. Um,
Yeah, episode 11? Like, I don't really know what to say about this one.
yeah, like at most we get like the start of Anya's subplot where she's like, "Damn, it's weird that I have a photo of baby Lelouch. I wonder what's up with that."
That's true.
I think there might also be a bit where like Anya and C2 clash, and or maybe it's the next episode. It might be a next episode. Anyway, there's this.
No, that's next episode, I'm pretty
Okay,
sure.
okay. So we'll just scooch on over to episode 11.
Okay, episode 11. Back in Ashford Academy,
Oh,
Psycho, but... Oh, what's up?
it was. I think it's me.
Oh! Yeah, shit, right, sorry, I don't know what I was doing there.
Back at Ashford Academy, Sayako Shinozaki poses as Lelouch. Realizing the eunuchs are not interested in saving TNC Li Jin-Kei rebels, as the Black Knights hold their ground against the Chinese Federation and Britannian forces, Zero tries to reason with the eunuchs, who openly admit their treachery. When Jin-Kei tries to shield Tianzi from the fighting, Zero personally enters into the field with his new Shinkero. Diethard hacks into the Chinese media network and replays the eunuch's deceit, igniting riots across the Chinese Federation. Faced with open rebellion, Schneisel orders a Britannian retreat, and Jin-Kei eliminates the eunuchs and rescues his commanders. It rescues his comrades. However, Kaladin and the Gurren have been handed over to Britannia. With the eunuchs dead, Zero forges an alliance with Jin-Kei and Tianzi. He returns to Ashford Academy, but is surprised to find Anya and Gino enrolled as students. I think they missed something from the tail end of that.
Yes, there's some pretty important omissions, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the reveal of Sayako as being a double for Lelouch.
Yes, it's very silly, but like in a fun way.
Yeah. There's also the detail of her being like, "Oh, I am personally loyal to both Lelouch and Zero, so it all works out." Which is a bit convenient. She's like, "Oh, how nice that I can be loyal to the revolutionary who is also the prince that I'm also personally loyal to." But also we get like Rolo being like, "I think you're maybe being a bit too friendly."
For how Lucia's supposed to be. Yeah, what else? This is also a pretty, like, Battle Rages episode,
Yeah.
but, like, there's a little more going on. Because I have not seen this show in, like, probably literally 10 years, I actually thought Jin-Kei was going to die in this episode.
They made it seem like it was gonna happen. Especially with his, like, fucking anime disease. But, no, he's still around. In fact, they're really hammering home the romance plot he has with this person who is definitely, like, 10 years younger than him.
Yeah, it's a little, I don't know about this one, but it's fine.
Zero also gives a speech about noblesse oblige to the eunuchs.
Yes, this is like the bit in like mass media, like political themed fiction that like really struggles to work with me anymore. Is like whenever it's like, oh, the people heard a recording of their rulers being corrupt and were like, what if we overthrew them? And I'm like, man, I wish it worked that way in real life.
Yeah. And also it's kind of weird where it's like, we have to save the monarchy from the corrupt aristocrats and bureaucrats. And like sort of popular monarchy sovereignty stuff. It's strange.
Yeah, it's a real, like, if this happened in real life, there would be fucking like Twitter posts about like, oh, Zero used generative AI to like create a speech to delegitimize the Phoenix.
Tamaki is like, yeah, I'm making these Lego videos. He finally has a good job for him, and Deedhart's like, well, I guess we can use these.
Let's see. What?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
this episode's the one where Tamaki is like, hey, can I talk to you about like a better job? And then later he does that. He tries to have the conversation with him.
It's a pretty funny bit. Tamaki is a piece of shit, but like in a way that I find kind of entertaining.
Yeah. There's a whole bit of like Deethart's like, hey, we should have you marry the Chinese empress instead for political marriages, and all the girls are like, no, you have to do it for love. And then he calls Shirley and is like, okay, I'll do what Shirley says, which is definitely some eye rolling gender is real stuff happening.
Yes, totally. I do think the like idea of Lelouch calling his like school friend to help him with a political decision is like very silly, charming in a Code Geass way.
Yeah. Also, we didn't talk much about like V2 recruiting cyber new type Jeremiah, who's now like more sane and stable. But we'll get more of that in a bit.
Yeah, shall we talk about episode 12?
Well, first we have to talk about the thing that helps set up episode 12, which is that Sayako,
Right.
in trying to protect the secret of the bookshelf, kisses Shirley, and that's the thing that Lelouch comes home to.
Yes.
Episode 12, then.
Episode 12. Lelouch is shocked that Sayako has made him into a playboy. As he tries to work out a way to undo the damage, Millie declares Cupid's Day, where any girl can become a boy's girlfriend by stealing his hat in order to make things more interesting. Millie declares that the first person to bring her Lelouch's hat gets their club's budget increased tenfold. Rollo and Sayako help Lelouch avoid the female students trying to catch him. Alone, Lelouch and Shirley discuss recent events and trade hats. Elsewhere, Knight of One, Bismarck Waldstein, informs the Emperor of a meeting between the princess and princesses about waging war against the Chinese Federation, where Schneisel declares threats and negotiations will work better than open war. Cornelia, determined to reveal the existence of Geass to clear Euphemia's name, confronts General Bartley, who begs her to help them, saying that the Emperor's recent actions may destroy the world. While Suzaku and Lloyd discuss the Gurren, Nunnally visits Colin in prison. Jeremiah arrives in Area 11 and uses his newly acquired Geass Chancellor in public, unwittingly restoring Shirley's memories of Zero's identity.
Yeah. Did all this happen in episode 12?
Yeah.
Damn, this episode was packed. Also, this is the best episode so far.
Yes, it's a real, like, the show is about to, like, really ratchet up, so let's have, like, one last fun episode of school antics.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. First of all, Gino and Anya becoming not only students, but also part of the student council. Like, well, okay, come on.
Yeah.
Let's relax here. I like the idea of, like, the payoff to Rollo being like, hey, don't overdo it, Sayako, is that, like, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna get... Yeah, just... Lelouch has a date with literally every girl in school. And then Shirley, like, literally, like, chews him out in front of all the girls. too.
Yes.
And also Saiko gets to do ninja shit to get away from all the people trying to grab Lelouch's hat.
Yeah, and all the students are like, damn, I can't believe Lelouch was hiding that he was this athletic the whole time.
Cornelia's alive. That's cool.
Yup.
I actually wasn't sure. I like the bit of Anya trying to catch Lelouch by getting into the robot and breaking the school and being told off about it. Well, also the fact that, oh yeah, one of the nights of the round, someone who got into a robot, there must be a riot at the school, so the riot police come to the school. And so Gino has to tell him, no, things just got a little crazy. Don't worry about it. And then Millie graduates and becomes a weather girl, which also makes her... she cancels her engagement to Lloyd for some reason.
Yeah, I guess because she wants to, live life on her own and not be, a tool in a political marriage.
Yeah. It was a throwaway line. I mean, he wasn't serious about the relationship anyway, so it's not whatever. But it was just one of those things. It's well, I don't know. They kind of just matter-of-factly. I mean, it's kind of downstream of when Nita told her off in the palace, but also I really care for what Nino is saying, so
Right.
And then we end off with oh yeah, Jeremiah has a Geass canceller, which is a cool thing to end off on, especially because it gets Shirley back on oh, the memories are back. Which presumably would be an interesting plot to develop for some time. Anyway, episode 13.
Yeah, episode 13. Let's talk about episode 13.
Was there anything else we wanted to say about episode 12, or...
Episode 12? No, I feel like episode 12 is it's mostly a breather episode, and and the rest of it is kind of just setting up stuff that we'll either talk about in the final batch or in, the rest of these episodes.
Yeah. Okay.
Having recovered her memories, Shirley questions her perception of reality while Lelouch heads back to the train station to check on the delivery of the G-Trains, a network of, Geffen distributor-equipped trains that will black out Tokyo once activated. Meanwhile, Jeremiah makes his move on Ashford Academy, overwhelming Saiko and Rollo in his search for Lelouch. Jeremiah corners him, but is paralyzed by the G-Train. Struggling, he asks why Lelouch betrayed the Emperor, to which the former prince reveals his motivation to avenge his mother. Having greatly admired Marianne v. Britannia, Jeremiah joins Lelouch's cause. Shirley finally reconciles her restored memories, asking Suzaku to forgive Lelouch as she has. Before she can reach Lelouch, she runs into Rollo, who mortally wounds her when she reveals knowledge of Nunley. Lelouch discovers Shirley alone and bleeding to death and stays with her in her last moments.
Yeah.
As far as women fridging episodes in mecha anime go, I've seen worse. This one does get me emotional a little bit.
This is one of the better ones, but still a bit annoying that's fridging, especially when it's I thought the payoff to Shirley having the memories would go further, especially because it would have been interesting to see what the show would have done with her being in the know.
Totally. Yes. Also, this episode is the entire reason that Rollo is a not universally hated character.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yes.
I'm not gonna just go, oh, awful character, but I am well, did he need to do that? I mean, he has this weird jealousy reasons, but this is definitely falling into like misunderstandings, which create further misunderstandings, which may be a degree toward the direction that the rest of the show is going.
Hmm.
Um. Also,
it's really funny how Jeremiah is like, yeah, I'll join the anti-colonial rebellion because I love you, former royalty, or I love your mom.
yeah, there's another thing I was sort of like weird on because I felt like they were setting up for Jeremiah as like a really interesting rival in this case, and then
Yeah,
it's immediately like, well, actually, conveniently, I have reasons to be loyal to you, so I'm just gonna switch sides now. Which is, I don't know, feels a bit too clean, too easy. Um, and then we have basically warlord era China happening, and the Black Knights are sort of restoring order, quote unquote.
yeah. This is I guess this is something that we didn't really talk much about, but it's kind of it's implied in the past like few episodes of this batch that the Black Knights, ever since they like got their little island, they've become like more global. Like they're working with anti-colonial rebellions in like India and shit.
Yeah, somehow. Dieter's very good at his job.
Yeah, yeah. They don't really show that part, unfortunately, but they do tell you about it.
Yeah. There is a moment where like Shirley in like, well, she has an interesting moment where she's like realizes that the world does not match her memories, and is fucked up about it, and then also has a
Yes.
moment of like doubting Suzaku, not knowing that there's the whole weird shit going on between them. But it does lead to
Yes,
the
and then she
craziest
kind of like
roof dip.
realizes through the way that they um that what's the word? She realizes through the way that they like look at each other and shit that they're not on the same side. Her like gaydar's
Yeah,
going off.
yeah. There's a brief like she falls off the roof and they do the epic saving her thing. Um,
Yes.
uh, yeah, yeah. I wish Shirley was around for longer because I feel like this is a
I
flat
agree.
flat way to end her arc. Also, I will say that when I watched this episode, I was like, well, through osmosis / context clues, I think I know one of the things that changed in the recap movies. Don't confirm this, but I have a
Yeah.
suspicion.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see.
Which I mean, if that's true, I'm also like, is that coward shit to undo something like that, or is it just like, well, it's not like the fridging was good in the first place, and then, I don't know. We shall see. Maybe it works out to be more interesting in the end. But yeah, it is a bit like a Rolo frustration. But at least she had the nice
Yeah.
conversation with Lelouch.
Yes. I do think that Shirley's dying conversation with Lelouch is really, it's well done.
Yeah.
Cornelia being alive is really like a random XD, but that's kind of just how Code Geass functions. So
Yeah.
like,
I mean, they did have it set up that like not confirmed dead, just missing. So I was kind of expecting she was come back. I
that's
just wasn't
true.
sure. I like that when she throws a knife at V2's head.
Yes, that
She's
bit
like,
is
I
pretty
have no
sad.
time for this bullshit, and he's like, well, too bad. We're gonna kill God, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Um. Also, this does feel a bit like the show rhyming with season 1 a bit, where it's like, oh wow, halfway through the show, some traumatic shit happens with Shirley. That's crazy. Um.
That's true.
And then maybe in the next few episodes we'll get another rhyming with Shirley in the previous season. But for that, we'll have to talk about episode 14.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, 14 is yours, right?
It is now. Rollo admits to causing Shirley's death. Rather than blame Rollo specifically, Lelouch blames the existence of Geass itself. I'll dispute that a bit after this.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it when you're done reading this summary.
In retaliation, he mounts an assault on the Geass order, which we haven't talked about, but there's like a religious order. Again, we should talk about that later. Slaughtering every man, woman, and child within the stronghold. V2 pilots the Siegfried in an attempt to stop the Black Knights, but is defeated by Lelouch and Cornelia. He escapes to the thought elevator where Charles waits, and when Lelouch follows, he is transported the sword of Akasha. Meanwhile, Callan and Emily discuss Lelouch until Sasaki interrupts. After being told that Shirley's death was as a rule to suicide, he decides to interrogate Callan using refrain in order to confirm suspicions that Lelouch has become zero again.
Okay, first of all, we need to dispute, like, the first sentence of this summary.
Yeah.
Lelouch literally spends this entire episode being like, Lamau can't wait to get that fucker Rollo killed in a suicide plan.
Yeah, he's, like, extremely, like, hiding his disdain and desire to get revenge on Rollo just to keep, because he's, like, still useful as a tool.
Yeah.
But also his plan to blow him up keeps failing.
Yes.
A second, we didn't talk about it, but there is, like, this is one of those things where it's like, oh, the weird magical fantasy / liberalism comes into play where it's like, oh, there's a secret organization rolling everything from, like, the MacGuffin magic hijacks the plot. There's, like, secret organization controlling everything from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Which is, whatever. I guess the episode starts with, like, Marianne and C2 are chilling in a flashback in 1997, and meanwhile, V2 is like, well, Charles, you're emperor now. How do you feel about that? And he's like, I hate lies. We have to kill God and falsehood. And it's like, okay. Is social Darwinism the path to that? Question mark. I don't know.
Probably not. It's really good how V2 is just, like, not a real mech pilot and kind of just gets owned.
Yeah. Like, he just controls a really big mobile armor, and that's all he has of him. Feel bad for Shirley's mom, who has to deal with both her husband and daughter dying just because.
Yeah. Suzaku being like, I am going to, like, commit, like, war crimes on Colin. Awful bit, like, good but awful.
Yeah. That scene is cut halfway through in this episode and continues in the next episode. We can talk more about the resolution to that later.
Sure.
But it's a bit of a, oh no, well, I guess what do you expect? That he's like, well, clearly Lelouch did this. Which isn't true, but also, also, yeah, this is like Lelouch does like a secret black ops team to do war crimes against like a bunch of civilians, which fucks up a bunch of people doing the war crimes.
Yes, it is kind of like, it's a thought. You can't really map, like, brainwashed cultist child soldiers onto, like, reality.
Yeah.
But, like, within the logic of the fiction, you can at least kind of understand Lelouch's rationale.
Yeah. I think it's like, I don't think these scientists are innocent.
Yes, you can definitely kill the scientist. I think
I can think, like, I can understand for the Black Knights who don't know what the fuck is going on, the fact they're, like, blowing up unarmed guys is fucking them up.
Yeah.
which is a thing that like they're seeding for maybe doing a little more with later, but we shall see. Diethard is like, yeah, Zero is up to some shit, but he won't tell me about it. Need to know. But also like a bunch of countries declaring independence are like joining the Black Knight Alliance.
Yeah.
Also, Bartley dies, and then he dies seeing C2. He's like, man, I got in the line, I'm running out of work.
Yup.
There's a plot set up where like, because Jeremiah is now on the Black Knights team, both Valletta is like, well, shit, I gotta kill Ogi now for some reason. Meanwhile, Diethard's like, Sayako, you might need to kill Ogi.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next episode.
And then yeah, they kind of just blow up everything. And this is kind of a really big Battle Rages episode as well.
Yeah.
What mostly happens here is at the end is like, they blow C2 kills the last of the cult guys, and then V2 is like dying and is found by Charles, who's like, bro, why'd you lie to me? We weren't supposed to lie to each other. And also like Jeremiah like grabs Cornelia. And I guess that takes us to episode 15.
Yeah.
I can't tell if we're speeding through this. Like maybe it still is like a lot more is happening and it's more enjoyable. But maybe R2 still is a bit more straightforward than R1.
Yes, also we were in the fucking China Federation arc for the first
Yeah.
half of these episodes, so...
Yeah, I was just like, damn, I feel like we're blazing through these a lot faster than we did with the first season. And I'm feeling like imposter syndrome a bit about it, because I'm like, wait, is it the show or is it me?
No, I think it is the show a little bit. Okay, so... Wait, fuck, okay, wait. I did 13. Yeah, okay, I do 15.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm really bad at keeping track of these. Suzaku realizes he can't stoop to Lelouch's level to achieve his goals and forgoes using Refrain on Colin. Ogi and Valletta meet in the woods where she intends to kill him, but Ogi confesses he's fallen in love with her. Sayako interrupts their rendezvous. Nina and the Invoke staff make their first successful bomb test while Lelouch confronts the Emperor atop of the Sword of Akasha. He learns that his father has taken V2's Code of Immortality, which has made him immortal. C2 appears and reveals that her wish is to die, which would make Lelouch immortal like his father. However, she spares him that fate, transporting him to C's world to ensure his safety. There, Lelouch witnesses her past, but upon realizing her true desire, Lelouch returns to reality, proclaiming that he shall be the only one to grant it. He attacks the Sword of Akasha with the Shinkiro and rescues C2, only to find out that she has lost all of her memories except for those before receiving the power of the Geass.
Yeah, I think
a lot happens in this episode.
Yes. Yeah, this might be the episode where we actually have stuff to talk about. I can say right off the bat, I think this is 90% a good episode, and then I have trepidations about the final bit. But to start, I think it's fun. Charles absorbs Lelouch into the temple, and there's a bit of a mind game thing where Lelouch is like, okay, I can't face him directly because he's baiting me. I have to do some weird shit with mirrors to command him to kill himself.
Yes, I did think that. I did think the thing with mirrors was pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, that was dope. But then we find out that Charles is immortal now. So the bit where Lelouch is like, haha, I won. He's like, no, sucker, loser.
Yeah.
Then
let's see. Okay. Very briefly, because I think it's on the lower end of subplots in this episode. I feel like the Ogi and Valletta thing would work way better for me if the show developed their relationship at all beyond like Valletta was Ogi's trad wife for like 2 months.
Yeah, like all things considered, she like feels like she went back to her normal self and like that wasn't me, and then like in the time since she's been like maybe it was me a little bit. But then she's trying to convince
Yes,
herself that
yes.
it wasn't it.
I think my like my nitpick more is I guess with how it's like presented. Because
Yeah,
a lot of it is like, oh, she's cooking, and she's like, oh, he's trad wife.
yeah, and like he fell for the trad wife version of her and not like the actual version of her.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit of a bad vibe.
I do kind of like the angle of like maybe she's reconsidered it because she like one of the last things Ogi told her while they were like together that we saw on screen was like he used to be a school teacher before colonization happened, and then her being having to masquerade as a school teacher has maybe had her think about this a bit more. That's me being as generous to the show as
Yeah,
I can be.
no, I think they're trying to draw a connection here, though I think you can maybe say I wish the writing was better at drawing it out.
Yeah. Uh, and then Sayako does a ninja fight, and then Oki and Valletta fall off the cliff into something that gets resolved basically next episode. Uh,
Yes.
uh, we get the bit of the nature of this world and C2 revealing that like her wish is to die, and I guess her thing is she doesn't want Lelouch to be immortal, and so or like I guess the curse of immortality specifically, and so she's like, oh, I'll have Charles kill me instead. Uh,
Yes. I think Lelouch and C2 have a lot of pretty good
yeah,
chemistry, so this stuff worked out pretty well for me for the most part.
yeah, and like I think like Lelouch being fucked up about it, like no, why do you like him being like I don't understand your desire to just die or your death wish, which is ironic because again
Yeah.
there's also things Suzaku has in a different way, but also just like him being like, well, why are you abandoning me, kind of thing. Um,
Yes, I also like the bit where like the like souls or Lelouch's subconscious or whatever basically call him out for being like basically being incapable of being honest to anybody about anything.
yeah, and also being like, well, okay, have your efforts actually gained you anything, or have you just actually like lost everything that's actually important to you?
Yes, there's a lot of I think there's a lot of pretty solid character stuff in this
Yeah,
episode.
as he's like talked to by the CGI masks. Um,
Yes.
there's a brief
Suzaku
little
being like, actually, wait a minute, maybe forcefully like drugging prisoners of war is bad. That's a good
yeah.
bit.
He stopped himself mid act and being like, no, I can't be like him. Uh, there's a brief little bit where like Nunnally tells the person who's like doing things for her, he's like, "Is this gentrification plan going to be good for the Japanese?" And she's like, "Yes." He's like, "You're lying."
Yeah.
um, and there's also like, "Oh yeah, Schneisel approves elevating Area 11 status," and she can also tell that Suzaku is maybe lying to her. He's like, "No, never." And then I think the most substantial thing is we get like the C2 backstory with
Yes.
her weird toxic relationship with a nun.
That was a good shit.
Where it's like not entirely clear to what degree the nun did actually care for her or was using for a tool, but that is like a question that like Lelouch is grappling with C2 obviously. There is just a bit where like right before she has the conversation of the nun being like, yeah, you're supposed to kill me, C2 is just like chilling naked talking to her in the church, and I'm like, was this necessary? What was she doing but before this?
I the implication is that they're fucking, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't sure if she was doing that with the nun.
That's kind of the vibe I have, but I could be wrong.
I guess maybe I was like didn't consider it because the nun was still dressed, and also like I was thinking like C2 is maybe getting her attention. Like I imagine I can see her being like sleeping around because her backstory's like, oh yeah, my Geass had the power to make everyone love me, and I like to like everyone be like, yeah, we're gonna create a religion after you. Isn't that crazy? But I wasn't necessarily expecting like the nun to like reciprocate that kind of thing. Not obviously she'd be
Right.
like immune to it, but like I mean it could be there, but maybe my Yuri blinders aren't as good as tuned they could be. Because that does make sense when you say it. I'm just like it didn't clock for me. But we do get the shot of like
Either that, or the implication is supposed to be that C2 is trying to like goad the nun into sleeping with her.
Either that or like she just got back from sleeping around with someone and didn't bother dressing herself. She's just like,
Yeah.
all these things have happened, but it does lead to the shot of like after she kills the nun, she's just like laying there still naked on the church with like the blood all over her, which is like a very evocative shot. So
Totally.
cinema, I guess, in a way. But yeah, C2's backstory is nifty. I like the whole like they're. It's like pre-Lelouch. It's like post Geass, but pre meeting Lelouch. C2 is like meeting him in like the memory space, and it's all presented as like the fucking weird LSD art museum.
Yeah.
With the paintings. I like that. That's cool. And the episode ends with Nina beefing Oppenheimer and Lelouch saving C2, but C2 has memories lost in a way that specifically infantilizes her. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this part.
No, this part is not good, but I can't talk about this too much because, like, I know where they're going, you know?
I hope it goes somewhere decent. Because I'm like, this basically undoes / ruins C2 as a character. Like, part of her whole appeal is that she's cool and snarky and detached and all that stuff. And like her just being like, ooh, baby wife, just sucks. And it's uninteresting. And it's like,
it sucks so bad.
And it's also like, oh hey, remember when Shirley lost her memories in season 1? Well, and like I guess the most terrible version of this is like it's another wrinkle of like, well, there's an interesting way to take like, oh, the further down Lelouch goes down this road, the more he like loses whatever things he values or connections he has. Which I guess does lead to like some interesting stuff in the coming episodes, but like, still like feels like it's again, it feels like a weird like she's not dead, but it still feels like another form of fridging, like another sacrifice of female character to add characterization to the male character.
Totally. Well, we'll talk about it more next
I mean, at
time
least
as well.
Because there's magic and bullshit involved and C2's alive, there's room to quote unquote fix this, but it still feels like there's gonna be a stretch of the show where like C2 is gonna have a kneecapped character.
Yeah, they're like, even if they do hypothetically fix this, it's like, did they need to make it a problem in the first place?
Like, it'd be like, we could watch the next episode and Shirley is like alive somehow, which is impossible basically because they put her in the ground, but like, if hypothetically that happened, that still wouldn't undo the fact that like they fridged her and she was out of the show for like 5 episodes.
Yes.
So yeah, it's tricky. But yeah. Yeah, I also don't know what's up with like Charles's motivation of like wanting to kill God, but
We'll talk about that,
later.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll go on to episode 16.
Yeah, let's do it.
You're missing one of these, by the way.
What did I
Episode
miss?
17.
Were we supposed to watch 17 this time?
Yeah, because it was 9.
Okay, now I may or may not have forgotten to watch 17. Let's cover that one next time.
Okay. Well, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, my brain was like, oh, obviously we're just gonna do more episodes in the last batch. I think my brain just filled it in like that.
No, I was like, oh, we're gonna do more episodes in the middle batch, so that because assumingly we'd have more time to talk about the end of the show in the last batch. So I think. But
okay, yeah, that was pretty dumb of me. Very sorry about that.
I guess this is gonna be shorter than expected. Okay. That means we can't talk about Suzaku stomping on Lelouch's face.
Yes, but what you can do is tell me what happened in episode 16.
I guess I can do that. Episode 16. 47 countries rally under the banner of the new United Federation of Nations, and their first declaration of war is against Britannia to liberate Japan. In anticipation, the Knights of the Round, the bulk of Britannia's military, are transferred to Japan. Nina asks to have the Lancelot equipped with her newly developed... I'm not reading the acronym. Nuke warhead.
Yeah.
The Emperor interrupts the Federation's announcement to challenge Zero to a battle for the world itself. Fearing for not only safety, Lelouch calls Suzaku and admits he is Zero, begs Suzaku to rescue her. Suzaku agrees, but only on the condition they be alone in the Kuruguri Shrine. Yeah. So the episode begins with Charles is missing because of stuff.
Yeah.
Cornelia is a prisoner, but we don't really know where that's going yet. And then Lelouch announces that there is a United Federation of Nations in alliance with Britannia. And it includes the governments of exile of various colonized countries. Though it doesn't necessarily include the actual... I think they may be conflating them, but it doesn't mention actually resistance forces within those countries.
Yes, I think they're just conflating them, and that
yes.
The intention is that these things are kind of the same.
Yeah. Yeah. This stuff is interesting because it's more actual geopolitics stuff. Where it's
yes, if you want to be uncharitable, you can say that the limits of the show's political imagination is making the United Nations.
Yeah,
but if you want to be more charitable, you can argue that the code Geass UN is not really analogous to the real world UN in any real way.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm thinking of. Is it feels very liberalism coded to be yes, we will make world peace by doing the UN. Though also I think, giving the writers credit here, maybe. I have no idea if this is true, but going to be devil's advocate. I think at the time this show was written, it is very clear that the UN is not actually good at doing the thing it's supposed to do. Or purported to do.
Yes. And
especially
part of this is
because this is post-Iraq War, where the US didn't even bother.
Yes, and part of this, right, is that the UN in real life is often acting in the interests of imperial core countries.
Yeah, like the UN as it exists.
Whereas,
no, go on, because you're probably gonna say the thing I was gonna say. Anyway.
Yes, whereas the Code Geass UN or the United Federation of Nations, is like made up of like colonized nations that are fighting for their independence.
Yeah, that's definitely like a
So
thing that makes.
you can argue that that's a different vibe.
Yeah, like, as you said, the UN as it exists in the real world is more like an extension of U.S. empire, and this one being like specifically an anti-imperialist alliance is anti-imperialist alliance with its own military to actually do the fight, take the fight to the colonizer, is like leagues above what the UN could and should be. Like it's just it is, I think, better, and I'm not entirely sure if like having it so that every member of the nation gives up their own military and bows exclusively to the Black Knights as give up their military for the UN's military. I'm not 100% sure about that in like the broad sense, because there's sovereignty and like there's still imperialism, but also it's interesting to like have like, okay, yeah, we're having this alliance of colonized nations to fight the colonizer and liberate other colonized nations, and we're uniting, and also like in doing this, by making the Black Knights the military of the UFN, is also like going to recruit people from all these other countries that would otherwise go to their national militaries that no longer are existing, which I guess is also good in a way in this context, at least in the context of this war. Maybe, I don't know, it's complicated, but like it is like
yeah.
Even though it's like, well, everyone is doing Lelouch's thing, there's an interesting thing of like, oh, it truly is a pan-imperialist coalition under one banner, which I think is really interesting. So it isn't like as shallow liberalism as it seems at first blush. I think it's like, oh, there's sauce here.
Yes. There is actually like, you could say there is some like sauce or nuance to this.
Yeah, and I don't know to what degree they did like by accident or like there was thought put into it, but it's like more interesting than literally just doing the UN as is.
Yes, I think on some level, trying to like reverse engineer intent in situations like this is very difficult, so I don't want to say too definitively one way or the other.
Yeah, we can't really we don't have any like sources, and it's not like I'm doing any production history until like next time.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting. There's like also like a bit in like in sort of like communist third worldist theory, the idea of the JDPON, which is like the joint dictatorship of the proletariat of oppressed nations. Which is like taking the concept of dictator of the proletariat, which is a thing liberals who don't understand communism like to fearmonger about, because like, oh, authoritarian, and sort of like not understanding what is meant in this context of like dictatorship not necessarily meaning literal dictatorship, but also it's like the rule of the working class over the bourgeoisie, because our so-called democracies are the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie over the working class and colonized peoples. And third worldism takes that a step further by being like, presumably as part of the revolution, all the colonized nations do have to like do some form of like occupation and restructuring of like the colonizer imperialist countries, because otherwise, we want to make sure that they don't turn around and colonize us.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess the closest thing to that would be the Soviets' occupation of East Germany. But otherwise, not many actual real-world examples of that.
Right. Like, the United Federation of Nations is, I think, definitely meant to be something more, like, ideal than actually existing in reality, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, but I just think it's interesting, like, they accidentally stumbled into something adjacent to the third worldist position of the JDPON.
Yeah,
I think it's funny.
It's kind of crazy.
which I think is like, I don't know if many people talk about Code Geass in that way, to be honest. But also, it's not like I was going out like searching discussions for Code Geass, obviously. But I'd be interested to see if like someone else had such similar observations. Because it is like, I definitely feel like in some of the circles we're in, there's a lot of like, oh yeah, the Code Geass is just being dumb and liberalism, which is, I think, not untrue, but I think there is like stuff under the surface, or like maybe like just beneath the surface. That's like, if you
yes, sometimes I do think it stumbles into like slightly more interesting and thoughtful things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Code Geass is a super thoughtful show, but I think it is more thoughtful than people maybe give it credit for.
Yeah, and I think like to some degree, the fact is the crazy show where super things happen is both like undermines things it may do, but also means that people aren't necessarily paying attention to the things that it might be doing. That's
exactly.
Because it is the show that's known for being the wild ride show, and I don't think most necessarily people watching this are like communists per se. Just statistically speaking.
No. Most people who are watching Code Geass aren't trying to deep read it, and like definitely aren't trying to deep read its politics.
Yeah. And presumably, if they try, I think they probably like give up after a while.
Yeah.
But I'm incapable of not thinking about these things, so I'll continue doing that. There was a bit in this episode where Oki rocks up, and I'm like, is that him or is that Sayako? Because I felt like it could have went either way, and it turns out that Sayako is with Rollo elsewhere, and so it was actually Ogi, and he's just being like blackmailed by Diethard, except like it's the weirdest form of blackmail, where Diethard's like, yeah, I'm blackmailing you to do the thing that you have been doing the whole time anyway, because you're useful. But I'd be doing this to have leverage on you. Even though he presumably doesn't know that, like, to some degree, Valletta is kind of also in Lelouch's orbit, and he is now, Lelouch somewhat knows about there being a thing between Oki and Valletta. Which is some funny miscommunication stuff where it's like, it probably wouldn't actually be, well, Valletta still did try to kill Ogi because of her own weird loyalty stuff, because I think she was like, why did we betray the Britannians anyway to Rollo? But remains to be seen. But yeah, there's the signing of the charter. It does feel a little self-serving, but it's the plot where the UN is like, our first job as the anti-imperialist alliance is specifically to go to Japan first, because that's the most important. But also, I guess like a not insubstantial like arm of the military is like Japanese, and they kind of help found the entire organization. So I guess makes sense. Honestly, the show barely discussed the idea of like Japanese as diaspora, which I was worried about at the end of last session. It just kind of stopped being a thing because we just overthrew China and founded the UN instead. I'm like, well, I guess that's one way to do it.
I think I prefer that direction.
Yes,
if you want me to be honest.
I guess if the founding members and like the core of the UN's anti-imperialist, anti-colonial army were Palestinians, I would also support them in prioritizing liberating Palestine. I mean, there's other reasons for that in the current moment, but also just like this is the bit where like Kellen beats up Suzaku because she's like, you tried to do war crimes against me and then you chicken out. Also, we forgot to mention like there was a bit where like way back in a few episodes, Anya had a weird resonance with C2. But there's this bit after Suzaku gets beaten up by Kellen where he talks to Anya and she's like, yeah, I take photos because at some point I lost all my memories, so I'm trying to keep a diary, and also I don't know what's up with that. And Suzaku's like, why did Charles erase her memory? What's up with that?
Yeah, what is up
There's also a guy called Sir Bradley who's a sicko knife guy. I'm like, I don't care about this guy. He's
No, I don't care about this guy
There's
either.
extremely, like, the Code Geass has too many characters, a bit.
Definitely.
Especially one who's, like, shallow. Um, Rivals is alone at school. And there's a bit where Jeremiah contacts Guilford about Cornelia, which gets paid off later in the next episode that I guess we talk about next month. There is a bit where at the big meeting, Charles spooks everyone as being like, "Bitch, I'm alive," and Lelouch is visibly shaken by this, and I think Toto. There's like a brief frame where Toto notices this. I think. So remains to be seen if that's picked up, because I think like the two other subordinates of Toto, I don't know their names. I don't care. I'm not gonna bother learning them. Have been like, hey, I don't know if we can trust Lelouch. He seems a bit sketch. And Toto's like, I believe in him, or at least I believe he is useful for the liberation of Japan at the moment. There's definitely a degree to, like, recurring so far is that, like, despite the reasonable apprehensions of everyone else about Zero, the fact that Toto and Ogi are in charge and trust him papers everything over a bit, at least in the short term. But we've had a bit of like Toto's like right hand man, sort of like seeing the bloodied hands of the robots, be like, "What did you guys do in there?"
Yup.
And then Rolo was like, "That's classified." Also, of course, we need to criticize the show being like, haha, in this setting, Japan is colonized, and so therefore it's okay for them to say Nippon Banzai. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before.
I don't think you should say that. I don't think you should have them chanting that. I don't think the show still exists in the real world.
Yeah.
We also have a bit of like Lelouch has one of his chefs make a pizza for C2. It has to introduce her to the idea of pizza.
Yes.
And then he smacks her when he like doesn't know what to do, because he's like, oh no, Nunley's gonna be a hostage.
Yeah, the vibe in that bit is kind of bad. I don't like that.
It's bad. He slaps her, and then like she's bleeding, and he's infantilized. It's off. And then he's busy peeing and pooping. It's like, oh, I have to trust. She's like, why don't you trust your friends? And he's like, well, I guess I'll call Suzaku, who hates me, but it's the closest thing to a friend I have.
Yes.
And yeah, I guess that's it for this one, unless you had anything else to say. I think.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, we get some more night guys. The Night of One, Bismarck.
Yeah, the night guys are like mostly not particularly interesting or compelling.
Yeah,
or
he's
whatever.
mostly just like strong night guy. I think we've got some shots of like some of the other royal family members, but they're extremely like, this is a design who has been on screen for 2 minutes total, and maybe only one speaking line.
Yeah.
Like, really the only member of that family who is in the palace doing politics that actually matters is Schneisel.
Yeah.
And then also Charles is doing his own. I mean, I don't know if Charles is like doing any politics so much as like he's like in his throne room doing magic shit.
Well, we'll talk about it next session.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess in that case, I guess we're done? Question mark.
Yeah, a lot of the, like, really meaty episodes are in the back third, so the next episode will probably be pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the ending, which I know how the show ends, even though they also undid that for the sequel movie, but also, we'll talk about that in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're coming to the end of the actual show itself, and then I guess we have some other things for the rest of the they're also in the same.
Yeah, we've got a good chunk of Code Geass extended
Yeah,
material.
for better or worse. And then we'll figure out what we're doing after that.
We'll figure something out.
Cross Ange? No, we're not doing that.
But yeah, I'd rather not.
I would not want to dedicate 3 months to that.
Yes, I'm in the same boat. I'm shooting it down live on pod.
Yeah. I wouldn't make a serious suggestion on Mike. So.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We've got some time.
Like 5. Well, we got the rest of the year because basically the schedule takes us to December, inclusive December, because that's when we have Rose of the Recapture. But yeah, I guess in that case we can just roll on into the plugs.
Yeah.
The plugs?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna do your plug first. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know. I thought you usually do first.
Why did I have in my head that you did it first?
I'll do it first this time then. You can send an email, touchyourpod@gmail.com. That's ultraqueue pod@gmail.com. And ultra_q on Twitter is the @ on Blue Skies. Ultra Q no underscore .biscuit.social. We're in the last third of Gridman, Baby Dan Dan, the original 90s show, which presumably will be done around next month when we finish R2 as well. And then we'll be also
good timing.
In between Gridman and Ultraman Powered, our next season, which is like a month long, we'll be doing our detour on Jinro, the anime movie, rounding off as well the Mamoru Oshii Kerberos trilogy of films. I guess other than that, you can if you want to hear me talk a lot more about Umineko on book clubs, you can go to the Bob Vids gaming channel to see the stream pods for those. And also, presumably, both Katherine and I will be on various episodes in the recent feed history of Fate Moon Archive. Because I had an episode come out last week.
I'm recording one tomorrow.
You're recording one tomorrow.
So,
as of time recording. So now you can do your blogs.
Okay, KimmyCatherine.bluesky.social. That's me, the human, Katherine. I post about things that I do and sometimes the games that I make. Also, you can find my games at mismatched-wings.itch.io. There's 2 of them. There should be a 3rd before the end of the year. Read them if you're interested.
Yeah. My mind blanked. But I'm supposed to say goodbye now.
I'll see you in the depths of Atlantis.
And I'll see you in the thought elevator. There you go. I changed it after like 6 months.
No, that's pretty good, honestly.
Okay.